I want them to know that you don't have to stick to something because you made that decision a long time ago with the information you had. When new information comes in and you want to change your mind, please let me know, and I'm here to help you. I want to say that I think also schools really push college. Now, we got to remember that the society we live in, they benefit off of this debt that we create, right? So it's necessary for them to push that agenda on us.
What's going on, everybody? I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of the Hustle Lounge podcast. I'm Graham.
What's good? It's your boy Hustle Gang, Chris.
All right, today we got a special guest, Miss LaTanya Coleman Carter. She's got a lot going on. If I say it all now, we're not going to get to the end. It's a lot, so we'll let her introduce herself and we'll go from there. How you doing today, man? Welcome to the show.
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me. LaTanya Coleman Carter. I am actually from Arkansas. Moved to LA about 8 years ago, so I'm here now. When I was in Arkansas, I was professor of mathematics. That's how I kind of met your friend, I think. Let's see. My partner and I have 7 kids. It's a blended family. I birthed 4 of them. I'm currently an author. I just wrote my first book. It's called Dear Mom. Wait, that's me. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. So let's jump into it. Dear Mom, Wait, That's Me. That's your new book. When did you release it?
It came out February 22nd this year. So 2222.
2222.
Sweet. 22, 22, 22.
Yeah.
My lottery
22.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about what the book's about?
Of course. It's actually my liberation story, to be honest. So it's about my parenting. However, it's more of a personal growth book, I would say. It's meant to inspire other people. So it's a collection of stories written in the form of poems, essays, and prose. They're really short stories. I mean, you can see the book, it's really tiny. Within the book, though, there's art. So there's paintings and things that I actually hand created myself that are canvases. There's music that's connected to each one of the poems or the whichever piece that you have. And the reason I did that is because I wanted the book to be a whole experience. I wanted you to not just read something, but to also be able to really get an idea of what I meant, where I was coming from on all levels, right? So that it's more of an experience. You can read it, yes, but then you can see it with your eyes. And then the songs that are connected to it are, I feel like, related. They're songs from J. Cole, Kanye West. It's not my songs, but I felt like by adding those songs, you could get a different level of the experience. You know, once you read it, you hear it and see it, it's all connected. You know, the purpose of it is to really just inspire other people to unsubscribe to societal norms. Ooh. Especially as a Black woman. Thanks. As a Black woman parenting in today's society, there's a lot of things I realized I was holding on to that came from society. May it be TV shows that I grew up watching, religion, my own upbringing. And there were moments with all these different kids where honestly, I was realizing they were not the same, which meant I wasn't going to be able to parent each one of my kids the same way. And I thought it was really important for me to share my stories, and hopefully that would inspire other people. My oldest child is 24. My youngest is 8. And so within that span, I've had so many experiences, which I would actually count as wins at this point. And so by the time I wrote the book, I was like, wait, this worked. I don't really have to do it the way everybody else has been doing it in the game, right? And there needs to be other people witnessing this so they can see that they don't have to do the parenting the way we were parented. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no, that's very important. I'm a brand new parent. My daughter's 7 months, but I broke out of society norms for myself like 10 years ago. I liberated myself from the program. And so for me, that's my way, my mind. I think I actually made a post on Facebook the other day. I was working out and it just came to me that, what did I say, Chris?
It was a post. Someone was basically saying they'd never be good enough for society, for Facebook, no matter if they buy a house or rent a house or if they...
No, not that. The one I said for parenting.
Oh, I don't
I'm
remember
gonna
that.
pull it up. It's
Yeah,
right
that's
here.
the
I
first
say it
one I
right here.
remember. But
I,
one you just posted the other day, you could connect it to though, because
yeah,
societal norms, like you said, you got to run your own race.
yeah. I think society norms not only affect us in just the way we enjoy our own life, it affects us definitely in parenting. And the post I wrote was, I said, you guys want your children to be free thinkers and think for themselves, but whenever you question them, we're based off, the black household. Do it because I say so. Do it now. Um, they grow up to be followers because they never knew how to ask questions. And one of the guys asked me, like, well, what do you mean? Like, I'm not saying that my daughter can just come and sass me, but she's going to know that it's okay to communicate after I tell her what to do, then say, hey, Dad, why did I do that? Or what's the purpose? And I can explain it to her. And that way she'll understand that when she grows older, if just because somebody say do something, that doesn't mean do it. And I'm definitely excited. I definitely can't wait to read your book because I believe us and even some little Chris is our parents were raised in a different era, and they were built on survival, right? Because if we really look back at it, my grandmother's late 70s, her parents were, right around, the end of slavery. She was in the civil rights movement. So the way she raised my mom was different than the way my mom raised me, but she's not that far removed from our terrible our history that we have. That, like you said, it comes to liberation. It comes to how do we grow from that? And our parents raised us off how they were raised, but that doesn't work in 2022. And ultimately, moving forward, we have to raise our kids for their generation, not our generation, because what worked for me ain't gonna work for her. It's a totally different world. But I think society norms keep everyone's brains enclosed because they're scared to be different. But if you look at the other cultures, they are adapting and we're still stuck. Sorry, I went on a soapbox.
No, to be honest, that's exactly what the book is all about. And I absolutely appreciate you saying that and recognizing that, and especially as a young person raising kids, it's important for us to recognize that things are different. I'll never forget one of the first times I really realized that I was just doing something because it had been done to me. And I think it was cooking, and my daughter asked me why I was doing something in particular. And I was like, I don't know. My mama did that. Those moments. And it was like, well, I have no idea why I'm doing that. I don't know why I'm telling you can't go spend the night at your friend's house on a school night. Why? I haven't even processed that. That's just what my parents did. And so I'm doing it. So I had to really get to the point where I started to question my own parenting. Why am I making this decision? Does that still make sense? Because like you said, they did the best that they could with the information they had. So this book is not to fault any parents or anyone who did it a different way. I completely understand your point of view. They did what they knew to do. And that was what we had to go. We don't have to do that no more. We have more information at our hands. And I just want to basically create a community of people who understand and appreciate that as an idea so that we can further the Black community into spaces that allow us to thrive and understanding that asking a question, questioning someone are two different things. My kids are free to question because I want you to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing or why you should be doing it. And a lot of times I don't make commands on them. I actually say things like, here's the information that I have. This is the experience I had when I tried to do that. That's the information, and you can do with that what you want to. There's a lot of freedom in my house because I really want them to grow into the humans that they were designed to be, not who I'm trying to make them to be. Most parents, I think, were really trying to recreate themselves or do a better job at what they didn't become. So they're kind of forcing that onto their kids. I really authentically want to see who my kids would be if I just let them develop into who they are supposed to be. Now, I'm here to guide you. You can always ask me any questions. I will support you, whatever that may be, but I don't want to make you do stuff.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
That's dope. Like, and my perspective on it is, if we do things the same way every generation, how will we ever elevate? That don't even make sense. Why would I do something the same way my mom did it 24 years ago?
It's safe, easy.
Oh, hold on, boom.
Because listen, it's not
comfort.
easy with
comfort level.
It's comfort. It's easy. My youngest is an 8-year-old little girl, and it is not the easiest thing for her to say why. I'm like, oh shoot, okay. And then I found myself going, wait, she does need to know why we're doing this thing. So when you're faced with a young kid questioning or asking questions about things that are happening, it's hard. It's not an easy thing. So nothing in this book that I'm talking about is easy. I even talk about that in the book. It's like, I'm saying what I'm saying, but it's not like, oh, this is just so easy. I do it like nothing. No, absolutely not. So to keep doing something, you're right. It's not going to change it, but it makes it easy. So are you ready to take the hard steps but the hard steps are going to move us forward, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And I think the hardest part of it, I think, and oh man, it's your book. It comes back to society norms. I mean, even us, like, I don't parent the way my mom parent, and my girl's 7 months, and she's probably, my mom is going to be probably in culture shock when my daughter's 4, 5, 6, and she's doing different things. And it's still going to be in a respectful and tasteful manner. I'm going to raise her the best way I can to prepare her for the world, but she's not going to have society norms. She's not going to be boxed and enclosed. And as Chris was saying, if we don't change, we've been doing everything these ways, the way it's been done. And what has it worked out for us, right? All these traditions don't result in nothing.
What we got to show for it?
Some clothes.
Listen.
I mean, and ultimately, I just take it personal now. I already took it personal prior, but I take it personal now as a parent because, that only a small percentage make it to the NBA. Only a small percentage make it here. Only a small percentage make it to those top level jobs that everybody wants to do. But that doesn't mean they can't be successful and elevate. But if their mind is always closed, they might miss the opportunity to ask someone a question that could open up another door for them. And it's just a comfort zone. I actually was reading something today. I wrote it down. It was so good. It said, if you feel comfortable in poverty, you'll stay there. Even if you come out of it, that's where you're comfortable at. So you'll find your way back. And how do you find your way back? Overspending, doing it. And I was like, whoa, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you kind of already talked about why you wrote the book. What's the production process for writing a book? How did you go about it?
Well, my book is self-published. So, I mean, there's many options for obviously, if you had a publisher that picked up the idea or something like that, then, that's obviously an option. But for me, it was something I did set a goal for myself to do. I wanted to write the book. I wanted to get it out. And so I did the Amazon version. So KDP is the Amazon. So it's free. And so it was a hard process for us because the pictures and the music and all the stuff that had to be added in there wasn't an easy drop in, but pretty much you could just write it in like a Google doc and drop it into the Amazon KDP. And then Amazon produces it and you just order copies, and it's available on Amazon as well. So you can actually purchase it at Amazon.com.
Oh, okay. So they print every time someone buy one, they print it. You don't have them.
I do. So if you want an author signed copy, my website actually has a link to where you can purchase it from me. So I basically purchase all of them from Amazon and then sell them, sign them from here, and then I'll send it out to you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's cool. So when you were writing the book, did you write it all down? Did you have like voice memos and came back to it? That portion of it, how was it?
Right. Yeah. So the book, again, so it's my twist on like absurdism. And for that reason, it's really just a collection of notes I have in my phone. I have an iPhone. So in there, they have the notes app. Yeah. And I just have so many notes in there. And I started to move them into a folder that would go into a book. And then, I mean, that was pretty much, they've all been written over the years. So like I said, my oldest is 24 and then my youngest is 8. And in between there, it's, 21, 2017, 8, 11, so all these stories are just kind of things that have happened over time that I learned from and thought it was important to share with the community. So they're notes initially, but they were formulated into poems and essays.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing to remember to write all those moments down. So, because if you don't write stuff down, sometimes you'll forget. And like it's so many, so many gems that you probably dropped in your notes, and when you were scrolling back, like, oh, I wrote this down, put it in the book. I know the book is amazing. I just know.
Literally, there's already a part 2 because there's still so many notes that are in there. So many notes. I'm a note taker. I think my notes have I think I got over 5,000 notes in my phone. Yeah, but therapy. Therapy was the reason that I really started writing and I write pretty much every day, even if it's just like today was an awful day. Mm-hmm. Today was amazing, whatever. There's so many notes in there. So yeah, note taking is important. And I think even watching the notes evolve over time, you know, the experiences, you get to see them all when they're all right there in one place. So it's a good idea to write some notes down, and who knows, it might be a book one day.
Yeah, yeah. So I started that when I started writing notes down, because we was talking about books for years now, me and Chris. But I started the notes, and then I just started doing voice memos. Like if I'm driving or working out, I would just like put it on record and just go, and then go back and listen to them. So I got some. I don't have 5,000, but I got a good number of them. And I struggle with what Chris said. I try to keep everything in my head, but I forget. You know, I do so much running around. I remember maybe. What you got though, Chris? What question you got?
How lucrative has the book industry been to you?
It hasn't necessarily, but let me be honest for a moment. My intentions was never, that wasn't my intention.
Mm-hmm.
And there was even a moment where I wanted to step back from the book because I thought the book was taking the front seat of the journey that I wasn't necessarily on. I truly just want to empower other parents. The book was a way of getting the story out there. I wanted more people to have access to it because I talk about it. My experiences all the time with people, when people come to me and ask me like, well, my daughter is in school and they're trying to hold her back, or they think that she should excel. And what do you think I should do about, and I have all these people that come and ask me questions because of my background in math, either that or all of the years of experience, right? And so I was like, well, and I was writing blogs. I had a blog on Medium, Medium. So I had a blog on Medium. And at one point I was like, I'm just doing this weekly. I could just put this all in one book and call it a day. And then you'd have access to the information, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, it probably could be more lucrative, to be honest, if I were doing the things that I was supposed to do. Wesley is the reason why I'm even here with you, because I'm not, you got to get out there, and it's self-published. I don't have a publisher. You would have to really be hitting the ground and getting the books in stores and walking around and asking people, but that's not my purpose. My purpose is to empower people and to create community. That's really what I want to do. I want to help other moms relax and accept the freedom and the liberation that is available for them, because it does not have to be as hard as it is for all of us. It's really about personal growth for me.
Yes, man. And I think personally, like, that's where the best work comes from, when it's really from the heart and not from a dollar sign, for sure. But I'm gonna tell you now, I'm gonna post your book. I'm gonna get some people to read it, because we got to get the message out there.
Right.
And
I appreciate it.
If that's the goal, we got to put it out.
Somebody's going to listen, and they're going to hear this, and they're going to say, well, I want to check that book out. And that may be the life changing of our next doctor, lawyer, or just a free thinking kid.
Right. Absolutely.
Because the kids are our future. I mean, the kids are our future, and they have to have a baseline to raise their kids upon. And if we stick with those norms, I mean, like I said, all we do is make excuses for why we haven't elevated instead of actually executing them. I ain't going in it today, man. I'm good. I'm good today. You did say that you use therapy or writing for therapy. Was that something that you went to a therapist, or you just realized like, hey, this kind of works for me and I'm gonna stick with it? Like, how did you get to that part? Because, mental health is something we don't talk about a lot in our community either.
I 100% support therapy. I've been in therapy consistently now for 5 years. And before that, on and off, right? So it's an important part. I mean, we talk about self-care and things like that. It's really important to process our thoughts and our experiences, right? But yeah, actual therapy was what caused me to write a lot too, because it's better out than in. And sometimes, I mean, you got to therapy, once a week? And that ain't the only time something happening, and you only get an hour. So you want me to tell you everything? I mean, if I try to tell you what happened this morning, we done, right? So it's a form of therapy by way of, I really need to let it out, because what happens with me is I end up holding it all in, and then I explode. And I don't like to be that type of person when there's so many people depending on me. I have kids and a partner, and I want to be the best version of myself that I can for all those people. And to do that, I have to release some of that energy, Yeah.
That's big. Yeah, that's big. And we all release in our own ways. I was, me and my wife were talking today, sometimes when I'm out there playing basketball, nothing matters, you know. And I know I ain't going to the NBA, but for that moment, I'm in my moment and I'm gonna enjoy it. And then I'm gonna crawl out of there because I'm getting older, and we gonna get out of there. But no, that's great. But you know, Chris did hit on that. When you're doing something out of purpose, it's a better product. You can tell when someone's doing a money grab and when someone is truly involved in what they're doing. Now, I mean, granted, we ain't out here doing nothing for free, but at the end of the day, when the purpose is in front of it, you know, when I used to work on vehicles, I used to love working on vehicles, painting them. Once I tried to turn it into a business and it took away the fun out of it, it wasn't fun anymore because now it became a burden. Like, this is what I love doing. You know, I made a couple of dollars in charge here and there and undercharge, but I just love doing it. But once I'm like, hey, I need to utilize this to survive, it was no fun anymore. And I walked away from it. Like, I just didn't want to do it anymore. If I could do it for free, I would be in the backyard still painting cars. If I could still live the life I wanted to live, I'd be out there every day. That was something I enjoyed doing. So what other business ventures are you involved in?
So I do have, I've created the mentorship program, but that was created before the book. Again, and that was created through the idea that people were asking me those questions, right? I was getting so many of those questions and I was realizing I have a lot of knowledge and a lot of information and things that have worked over the years. How to excel a child. My oldest kid went to UCLA, and has graduated, right? So some of these things that I know how to do, she knew from the very beginning that she wants to be in science. I knew exactly what path you need to take, what classes you need to do, how do you excel and get to a place where UCLA wants you, right? And so I was like, well, how come more Black people aren't doing this? They don't have the information. I would watch people in the room before me have an experience where the parent just accepted what they told them. I was like, you don't have to do that, right? You know, your kid can take Algebra 1 in 6th grade, that's allowed. And they won't tell you that because whatever the case, right? You know, so I was finding myself in these positions where I was like, I really want, it sometimes comes across as if Black people aren't as good as the other people, right? But it's not so much they're not good, they don't have the information. We can do anything we want to do. We don't have all the information in front of us. So how can I get you the information to help you and your child get better and do better and go where you're trying to go? Well, first we need to formulate a plan for your child, and each child will be different, right? What is your child's end game? What is your child's end game, number one? Not what is your end game for your child, because it's got to be theirs and they have to own it, right? So I created the mentorship program, which basically that is part of it, but also there's sometimes that moms just need to vent. They need to know they're not alone. So we also have the group setting where we can meet together and do things like that. So it's all about, again, creating community, getting the message out there, because knowledge for real is power. I mean, the more you know, you just start moving different, you know what I'm saying? And they will hold our kids down in these systems. They really do not want us to go. And I'm like, let's get in the car together and go. So look, I have the information, what you need to know. Let's figure out, should your kid be in a charter school? Should they be in a magnet school? Should you homeschool? There's so many options. And then all we know is it's the school down the street.
Yeah.
How do I do all of this stuff? And so I'm here for that. I really,
you need it everywhere, because I can tell you now, like, for example, my mom, like she kind of knew like what kind of student I was, but she didn't have that information to get me where I needed to be or maximize my potential. You know, I just went to the school that I was closest to. Therefore, you know, distractions. I wasn't intentional because my mom wasn't intentional, and it was nothing that was on purpose. But like you the career guidance counselor that's needed in schools. I don't even remember my career guidance counselor. I don't remember.
They don't even do that no more. I think the guidance counselor there just now is just. I mean, we had one experience where my daughter's guidance counselor was telling her, well, it was when we moved out here, we was in a bad area, just know that, because it's not all like that. But this lady told her all she needed to do was, she's like, oh, you're pretty much done. You don't need to take those classes. We knew what she was trying to do. So we was like, I want psychology. I want this class. We need AP this and we need this. And I want this French. And she was like, you already clipped out of all of those courses. Why are you doing all that? All you need to do is write in on Black and woman and you'll be fine. And I was like, that's the guidance counselor, the guidance counselor. Now, mind you, if I didn't already know what I was trying to do, I'd have been the mama just sitting there go, oh, really?
Man.
Okay, sure, no problem. That's what we'll do. And then she wouldn't have made it into UCLA.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I need you to have the information. So they can't be bullying you around there telling you what you can. And she just thought I was some black woman gonna be like, okay, ma'am, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And that's the thing, is that it's not enough of you. And it's too many, like you said, that just take it and run with it. Even when I was in school, I skipped second grade. They had me in class and it was too easy. I didn't know. I was just a kid. It was too easy. And I was a nuisance after I finished my test before everybody. So they were saying, hey, you want to take this test? And me being a kid, like, no, I don't want to leave my friends, you know? But I took a test, so I skipped second grade. I was in second grade for like 2 weeks. And I had the intellect to join the International Baccalaureate program when I was in high school, but it just wasn't cool. And I do respect my dad for, like, he wanted me to do it because he knew better for me, but he knew that I wasn't going to, like, I just wasn't into, like, the engineering and stuff. Like, you know, I'm a hands-on guy, mechanical guy. Like, I'm glad that I'm smart, but I don't want to be there because those people are going to be doctors and neurosurgeons. And it wasn't my thing. Not that I couldn't learn it if I just wasn't interested in it.
Right. No, but hold on. Let me make something really, really clear too. Because this is probably the most important part. Yes, I had a daughter graduate UCLA and we did all of the stuff. But my son, who is a gamer, I pulled him out of public school and homeschooled him intentionally so that he could spend more time gaming and becoming a better gamer. So I'm not worried about you being the best science person and the best math person. Like, that's great if that's who you are. So if you say, yeah, this is what I want to do, let's do that. But what do you want to do? You want to be a game? And I sat out and watched him one summer and I was like, wait, you good. And there's a career in that.
Yeah,
We left school.
They getting
paid. So why would I have him in there slaving over US history, some stuff that he don't even care about, ain't gonna move his career in any kind of way, right? So at the end of the day, I was like, all right, so now you gotta come home and game all day long and get better and better because I want you to be the best gamer you can be. So he homeschooled for that reason. So I do each child differently based on what they need. And that's my whole point with the community is that, listen, every kid not supposed to be a doctor. Yes, we need doctors, but you love art and you go to the theater and you watch movies. If your child wants to be an actress, let's figure out what school they should be in that's going to push that agenda for them. Let's figure out what classes they need to be taken to optimize their desire. And that's the main focus. Like, I appreciate you for saying that because I want to make sure that it's very clear that I'm not pushing anybody. And I'm a professor. Like, that is my jam. I love math. I tutored math. I had a tutoring company. I own a math tutoring company, and I will teach you math all day, every day. I love it. But I'm not about to push that on you if you don't want that. Like, do you know how to add up and make sure your bank account right when you start making them Fortnite checks? That's it.
And that's beautiful. You everything as I'm listening, and for everybody that's listening, if you haven't caught on yet, it's really an investment in her kids. And you're very intentional about how you raise your kids, which is I like the word liberation. It liberates them because that's what it does, right? We as a culture, society, norms, again, is go to school, get your A's and B's, I'm gonna give you a couple dollars, right? Now, not that that's a bad thing, it's a tradition, I get it, but what does A's and B's help you when you're 25 trying to get a job? You're not going to get it. And that's why I think some of the mentality of, oh, I did something today, give me something. That's what ruins some of our kids who not having that communication and say, hey, A's and B's are what you're supposed to do in school. I just gave you some money because you didn't have any. But we make a big party because they had A's and B's, which is great. But how does that really correlate to the outside world? And like you said, everybody's not due for college. College isn't for everyone. I think the best thing that happened to me is I always thought this way. But, you know, it's always easy when you don't have a kid, right? I'm going to do this when I have kids. I'm going to do this when I have kids. And then my daughter came in because, you know, it's a girl first. I have no expectations of her. Like, you know, with a boy, you will be junior, you're going to hoop. With her, let's just do it, you know, like, and I think that's why, you know, I was blessed to have a daughter first because it allowed me to actually keep what I already thought in my mind and actually execute it instead of just talking about it. Because I know if it was a little boy, some of that stuff be out the window. Come on, you got to dunk at one, you know.
Stop what you're doing right now, man. Hit that like button, man. What's a comment? Let us know how we doing. Appreciate y'all.
So math mentorship, math professor. And you have the mentorship company is for the mothers and parents.
Or parents, I would say
Yeah.
parents. I mean, if dads want to, I mean, listen, we are all on this journey together. We're trying to get to the same end game. So
Yeah.
there's no discrimination. If you have kids and you want to talk about it, let's talk. Let's figure out what needs to be done for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have a math tutoring business. Okay.
Yeah. So when I moved out here, so professor of mathematics at Philander Smith College. When we left there and moved out here, the credentials for teaching math here are completely different. So while I got more degrees than a thermometer, baby, it didn't matter. They was like, no, we good on that. So they never gave me a job. I started tutoring at like little companies here, but they wasn't really paying. And my clients really liked me. So I ended up just starting my own tutoring company where I tutor math. So that's still available. And, you know, when COVID hit, it kind of changed the game because I used to go to people's homes to tutor. And then it went all online and the kids were online all day and they didn't really want to do online tutoring after that. So it kind of changed. It went down a little bit, but it's still available.
That's dope, you know. Just to go back to, before we go to the next question, I just think it's so important that you said that you parent your kids based off what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? I've never heard of a parent adjusting their child for gaming, but I think that's like a gem, like, because it's lucrative and you know your son well enough to know that him going to school, learning what they're teaching, is it going to benefit him in the long run if this is something that he really wants to do. What's the difference between gaming and someone want to rap or play an instrument?
The thing he was really interested in, he needs to spend the same amount of time. So if I say, oh, she's at home studying, you'd be like, oh, that's so wonderful. But I was like, he's at home gaming. And you're like,
you look at it like he needs to be studying. You know,
he needs to get outside. But had one of my sons played football. He would have football practice during the week, games on the weekend. We were spending a lot of time on the football field. This is literally the same thing. It's just a different format.
Yeah.
And I had to be open to seeing it that way, you know.
That perspective. That's an amazing perspective.
Yeah, because if you said nobody has any issues when it's NBA, NFL, nobody has no issues there. And you know, my father, he made a comment a couple months ago. He was talking to some kid, and they were like, they wanted to be a famous YouTuber, and it would blow them out of his mind. He like, what do you mean? Like, Dad, these kids getting that bread on their YouTube, Dad. Like, yeah. And it's because he's older now, but we as parents growing up under our parents, we have to realize that there are other opportunities. Like, and the information is there. We just have to execute. We have to go out there and read. We have to study it. And like you said, to be the best gamer, to get the top down. Everybody gamer. I'm a gamer. I ain't good, but I game, right? But to be a gamer and to be at that top level, you have to put those hours in. He needs to be in front of the game, getting better and learning how to use and, talk on the mic. Whatever they do, the streaming that they do nowadays, like, that's his craft. And,
I mean, the thing is, and sometimes when people say that stuff, I'm like, have you actually watched what they do? Because Fortnite is pretty intense, and this man is in there building up on top of people and multitasking, watching behind his back. Like, there's a lot of activities going on. Yeah, and he has to know dimensions. Killing me
when I was on Fortnite. I had deleted. I was getting smoked.
Probably, I'm telling you, he is really good. And when I watched him, I was like, it would be crazy for me not to support him. And we can use it even when I remember, so he's been homeschooling for about 3 years now. So whenever we first started, I would use the game to teach him math. And I would say, if it's because they do squads in Fortnite and there's duos or whatever. And I'm like, so it's 25 people left in the game. How many squads are left, or how many, this is division, this is location. And but it caught his interest and was, literally they were telling me this boy was behind in math and he was slow. Now he's technically in 6th grade, but he tested into 10th grade math. He was behind when y'all had him, you know what I'm saying? But when I changed the focus of his learning to something he was interested in, it allowed him to learn in a better way. So I really call it interest-based learning, because when you can use whatever they're already interested in, and everything, I promise you, everything can be used, everything. Like, people will be like, well, not that, and I'll show you. Just name it, I'll show you. Everything can be used. And so if you use the child's interest, they will learn better, easier, and faster.
Because they're locked in.
Yeah.
I like, what's funny is that people gonna listen to this, and the ones who aren't free thinkers that we're trying to liberate their minds because they're only a slave in their own brains. When they do hear this, they're gonna laugh and think that you're crazy. But then when we come back in a couple years from now and he's the top gamer in the world, oh man. And I think that's the thing with our society. You just said it too. They're just too comfortable. Be different.
Yeah.
And even if he's not the top gamer, at least he's not gonna be depressed. He's gonna be happy. He's gonna be free. You know, because it's not always, I mean, for me, it's about the freedom. You know, I really want to live in a free space. Like, the world outside of this house is really hard. You have to walk out, you know, to be free in your home is so important. You know what I mean? And so even if he don't become the top gamer, he at least be happier.
And he's still learning. He's still learning what he needs to learn.
Absolutely.
Just using his interest. Man, that's fire.
I got one more thing, my bad. I just want to say, like, we appreciate every teacher, right? But in my opinion, no teacher should be better than you as a teacher at home, as a parent. It's your job to know what your child is doing in school, not the teacher's job. And it's your job to get the best out of your child in whatever subject they're struggling in, because you, like you said, I put it in a different light and he understood it more. So that's just my thoughts. Like, we depend on teachers a little too much in school. They got 100 students. How can they focus? How can they help your child maximize their potential?
Sure.
But that's it.
Yeah, no, you're good. And I think, I mean, it goes right into our next question with the homeschooling, because a lot of times people, you know, like we talked about the schools and going to different schools. It was an incident back home. I haven't caught up into it too much because it doesn't affect me. But one of our school districts that I went to, I guess they were having issues, and people were on Facebook, you know, putting on a party and a show about how bad, you know, Florence School District 1 was. And I kind of asked one of my partners, like, well, if it's that bad, if everybody getting all this money, why they just don't go to another school and pay for it? But, you know, nobody wants to take that step of that real investment. You know, my daughter's not going to go to a school that's not up to par. And that's what we work for, that freedom. We work for our finances to be where they need to be. But nobody wants to invest in their children. If a first school costs $30,000, you know, give or take, I don't know what private school or any of those schools cost, but if that's what it costs, then that's what we got to pay, because that's an investment to my daughter. You know, that's important that she gets the best education possible. So it was just a whole lot of hoopla. But in your homeschool program, do you have any financial literacy topics that you speak of while teaching at home, or how do you feel about that integration of financial literacy in our schools?
The program that we're with is, to be honest, I do what's called unschooling. It basically means we're free to do it how we want to. I am connected to a homeschool base, but with that, I get to choose the curriculum. I get to do it however I want. And with the unschooling, basically, I allow his interest to dictate what we learn. So let's say today he goes, "Mom, why's the moon still out and it's daylight?" I'm like, let's look it up. Let's watch a YouTube. We'll talk about it. And today he learned science, you know. We do financial literacy by way of, he has a savings account. He has a credit card that is under, because of course it's Fortnite. He's a gamer. So you know how all the skins and all the V-Bucks, and he plays Roblox. I had to buy stock in Roblox because I'm like, basically I already own it, dude, the way I spend money on Roblox. So I wanted him, he was getting to the point where he was just really using it, you know, so I wanted him to understand because it seems really fake now, because we don't transaction with like tangible money anymore. Yeah. So for him, it's just like, can I have V-Bucks? Can I get Robux? You know, and it's just like, do you know, you gotta actually have money, you know? So gave him the credit card that's under mine, you know, but so that he can see how it looks. If you don't have the money in your savings account, then you can't make the purchase over here. So if you don't, you know, so he can make the purchase on his credit card, but only if it's enough to pay his bill. But I just really wanted them to understand that, because it started to kind of get out of hand. It seemed like they didn't really understand what was going on. And I'm sure the older that they get, the more they will get involved with that. My middle child, she actually just graduated. She owns a Depop store. It's like a, I don't know, eBay type of store where you sell used clothes. So she goes out and she purchases clothes from like Goodwill and Salvation Army, and then she resells it online. She does really well. And so she's in charge of her finances, PayPal, her bank account, transferring, making the purchase for she has to actually purchase the shipping and the shipping process. Like she has a whole business actually. And again, none of this was because I was like, you need to own a business. No, she loves to shop. And she has gotten to the point where her clothes were overflowing, and we figured out a way to maximize the fact that she wants to shop and she needs money. And so it was just one of those things. So again, so financial literacy is involved in all of their learning, but by way of their interests.
Perfect. No, that makes a lot of sense. So you have your daughter is in college, UCLA, right? Or graduated?
But she graduated. Yeah, she graduated now already. Yeah, pandemic.
So we had a question like, what is your views on college? We know you had a college grad. So what are your views? Because
hey, this is the hot topic, baby.
I actually
think it's overpriced.
It 100%. So if you can get it for free, go. And she got it for free.
Bang.
There's no. I remember the day she was in her room and trying to, which is one of the stories in the book actually. She was filling out applications and scholarship applications and all that stuff. And she was kind of stressing out. And I looked at her in her eye and I was like, look at me. I want you to know that you do not have to do this. And we moved out here to give her in-state tuition. So she felt a little bit of pressure that we had moved all the way here. She needed to go to college. And I said, you don't have to we love California. We not leaving. It's been great for us. You do not have to go to school. I promise you. None of my kids have to go to college. I think I said this to you already. I got too many degrees and it hasn't done anything for me at all. It's not back in it. There was a time when having a degree guaranteed you something that would have been fine, but you can have all the degrees you want to right now and it won't change anything for you. You can also be a billionaire and not have any degrees. You can drop out of school. You have to focus on what it is you truly desire and go for that, right? And if it does require a college degree, listen, let's figure out how to do that. If it doesn't, let's not. It's still the same thing for me. If college is what you want to do, I can help you get there. I know exactly what to do. But if you don't want to go to college, let's not waste the money or the time. I've been a college professor, so I remember being in class being like, you really shouldn't be here. And I know, and that was not a jab. That's not a jab. And listen, we need everything. We need people, we need welders, we need mechanics, we need artists, we need dancers, we need gamers, we need all of these people. So it's not a jab at anybody, you know what I'm saying? But don't waste your money and your time. Really focus on what it is you want and go do that. The one who just graduated, she graduated a year early because when we switched her over to homeschool. They went back to school in LA last year, right? But she didn't want to go back to public school. So we did homeschool. When we got set up with the homeschool, turns out she could graduate. They was like, look, she only need English and this, and you can go. So we went ahead and graduated her early. And everybody's like, so where's she going? She gonna go to college? She gonna do it? No, she's gonna chill. What you mean? She got a whole year to figure out all of that. Her parents are not kicking her out the house. She ain't gotta go do all of that. It's not necessary. She's gonna take her time, take a break. They have been pressuring her to do all the schoolwork and do all the stuff for all these years. I'm about to give her a break, let her figure herself out, really get to know herself, and then develop into the person she wants to be. No pressure. If she wants to go to college, let's figure it out. So, I mean, I like the idea of college. I prefer HBCU because I really like the feel of that. I think it's necessary for us to get back to the root of us learning from each other and having that connection in the community. Because of course, again, my whole point right now is just to build community for us as a people. So college,
yeah,
it's kind of up to you.
You made an important point. My view on why kids go to college when they don't want to go to college is a lot of the times it be pressure from the parents. When somewhere along the lines, somebody passed in our ears that when your kid turn 18, they got to get out and they got to go to college or they got to join the military or they need to get a job and move out. And it's like, I just graduated 2 months ago. Like, if you make it comfortable for me to figure myself out for a year or two, maybe I won't even waste my time going to college, getting in these student loans because it wasn't no pressure on my back to get out my mama's house. But a lot of that goes back to finances and, you know, a lot of stuff me and Graham talk about on our regular episodes. But I just think that's so important that, you know, your daughter
and it's the parents. She may, and she's open to
totally up to her.
Always open to change your mind. That's one of my one of the biggest things in my house, if my kids, they say, well, what's your mama say? It's probably, you can change your mind at any point about any of this. If you want to go back to school and you don't want to homeschool anymore, let's do that. Whatever you want to do, you can change your mind. I want them to know that you don't have to stick to something because you made that decision a long time ago with the information you had. When new information comes in and you want to change your mind, please let me know, and I'm here to help you. I want to say that I think also schools really push college. Now, we got to remember that the society we live in, they benefit off of this debt that we create, right? So it's necessary for them to push that agenda on us. We not only do our parents have that information, but it comes from the bigger piece of society who's telling them that's what's necessary. My kindergartner, when she was in kindergarten, there was an assignment where she had to choose a college. It was college week, and they were going to choose a college and then wear that college shirt, and like they had this whole college week event. And I said to myself and them, what if she don't want to go to college? Why are you pushing this agenda on her so early? And then at kindergarten, and then you go through 12 years of that indoctrination, right? Of them just brainwashing you to think that this is what's necessary, to the point where by the time it's time for you to get out, you ain't really think about nothing else. It's been brainwashed into you so hard.
Okay.
And now you're there, and now you're in college, and you don't even know. You just know that's what you were supposed to do. You like, well, I did it. I'm here. I got my loan.
Yeah, the brainwash portion is definitely, like you said, the bigger agenda from Big Brother in them. You know, is the more people that go into the college, the more money they funnel in, the more people get, they get to continue their wealth classes separate from us. Rich people get rich from poor people. I don't know why we haven't figured that out yet. We have people who go, we know in our communities, I want to be the first person in my family to get a degree. Why?
For what?
Why? Yeah. They hang it on the wall. I got 4 degrees. None of them correlate to anything I do every day, but they were free. So
yeah. There's that part. Literally, if you can get it for free, if you can get it for free, you got scholarships. Listen, go get that thing. It's because it's it's from the government. You ain't about to get nothing else free, so you might as well. So if you can get it for free, go on and take that thing. But otherwise, if you got to pay for it, if it's free, give me free.
That's the thing. I mean, it just all ultimately keeps coming back to the society norms. Is everybody want to hang their bachelor's degree at grandma and them house, but how is that going to help the lights stay on and just the real life thing? And then me and Chris always go back and forth about getting out at 18. I would just say it depends on how the kid is prepared. My dad didn't, I don't know if he had it planned out, but he prepared me for life so that at 18 I was ready to go, because and so it's different, right? I mean,
it's situational.
It's situational, but I do agree.
A lot of times kids get pressured, for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. My pressure was you got to do something, do something.
Yeah, at the minimum. Nah, I ain't saying later you gonna get a job or something. Like, my kids, you 18, don't want to go to college. Cool, you ain't living for free now. Once you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna teach you responsibility.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Responsibility. My dad, I put in for college.
Bad financial situation.
When I started talking about college, he basically was like, "You gonna go to college or go, military, get a job?" I'm like, "All right, well, I'm gonna take the easy route. I'm gonna go to college." And he was like, "Nah, that ain't gonna work." I'm like, but and it's just certain things. You figure like I got buddies. I'm above 30 who their parents or their dad, they're still in the family paying cell phone bill. Like they never even paid their bill on their own. Like my pop gave me my cell phone bill the first job I got. Like, I'm only getting $6.50 an hour. He's like, cool, you got enough to pay your phone bill. Now you know what it is to be a man. Even in the garage in the backyard, I turned into the shop. $100 a month for rent, right? And I'm a kid. I'm like, I ain't painting no cars this month. He's like, that ain't how life works. We don't care. The lights still got to go. They went down to $65 because you wasn't in there, but the bill still got to be paid. And that taught me, like, I need to put some money to the side, pay your bills first, because ultimately that next month, the shop went crazy and I made a lot of money. But if I miss my payment, then I'm evicted. And that's the way he kind of taught me, because it was my interest out there, entrepreneuring and getting to it. So I don't know if he did it on purpose, but hey, you did a good job, Dad, if you're listening.
Shout out to Pops.
Shout out to Pops, man. But we kind of answered some of that too. We already asked the parents that's listening, contact her, get some, if you feel that you, and just, I would tell, if you're listening, parents, I don't want to answer your question, but look in the mirror and ask yourself, why are you doing certain things that you're doing? Are you doing it because mom and them did it? Or are you doing it because you have a true understanding of what you're trying to help your child achieve? And that can be from anywhere from the schooling to just the culture. Like, make sure that you taking care of what the kid needs and not what you need. How do you manage to be a mother of 7, teacher, mentor, multiple businesses, just wrote your book with your 5,000 notes, author now, you're going to be a best-selling author real soon. We're going to see you at Barnes & Noble just smiling and signing books. How do you juggle all of it?
I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I mess up. And anytime I'm going really hard on one thing, I'm probably missing out on something else. I even honestly resent the implication that I'm supposed to do all those things well. They're all things that I appreciate doing, love doing. I love my kids. It's probably one of my favorite things I've done in life. But I just don't do everything well all the time. I do the best that I can. And there are times that I'm super, super busy. I have to close my door and say, nobody come in here, I'm on the phone, which may to someone seem like not being good at a mom at that moment, but that's so that I can help get the information out about the book or, so it's a balancing, to be honest. Like, I really have to balance, and probably more importantly, it's the self-care. It's waking up in the morning and taking some time for myself before I get started with the day. I used to wake up to an alarm when the kids were going to school, and I would jump up out of bed and get going with the day, and the whole day would be like that. Boom, 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 just go, go, go. Now I just wake up and I lay there for a little bit, meditate, and I say affirmations. I may sage or do whatever I need to do to keep it calm so that the day goes like that. So even though bumps come in the road, it doesn't feel like a jolt. It's just like a slight, it's almost like those self-driving cars, where if you veer out of the lane just a little bit, it kind of scoots you back. That's it. It's just like a little slide. That's it, but I get to stay on the road that I'm on with just these little bitty moments where it's not a perfect drive, but I have self-correcting and it comes back. So,
perfect.
I don't know the answer to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I do juggle it, but it's hard. And I don't ever want it to seem like it's easy. I mean, I think you post on Instagram and you see what everybody's highlights, is that what they say? And that's what it looks like when I say, oh, I have all these kids, and it looks like it's easy, but there are moments. I mean, and I have my own personal breakdowns and I need help. I need to do better at that, actually, though. I need to be able to ask for help a little bit more. I'm a perfectionist, so I tend to be like, I want to do it myself so it can be right.
I know somebody like it. I ain't gonna say no name.
I was laughing over here to myself when she said that. Like,
Uncle Shay say, y'all don't know, Shannon Sharp, he said, they asked him, like, how was he great? And he said, there's no balance.
Yeah, I'll tell you already, balance ain't fair.
Yeah.
Sometimes balance is, like now we got this, then I got to get the baby together, get something to eat, spend some time tonight. I'm probably gonna have to stay up late tonight, kick it with the old lady, because in the morning I got to go out for a whole week for work. So it's never going to be easy, but we work hard now so that we can enjoy it later. And you have to, the end goal. We got 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
Society norms, we hit them a little bit. What do you feel is I won't say the worst one. What is your biggest society norm or stigma that you want to break? I worded that right. I hope so. I think you get it.
I don't know. I really think it's the education piece. And the form of, and how we get our education and how we do that. We really just have kids and assume that the only way to get them educated is through a traditional school setting. And I really want to break that as an idea. We do need education and it is important, but there's different levels to that. And it doesn't look the same for everybody. So I really just want to, and community, again, I mean, I keep saying that, but that's the biggest piece. I think when we really all come together and create that space, then we'll see that the education piece can be done different. I think education.
Yeah, I think that definitely, because education can go into financial literacy, it can go in just regular ins and outs. And then the education system, when you walk into the school, as you said, I recruit for the Air Force, so I'm always in high schools a lot. And all they got on the wall is sign up for your student loan now, learn how to fill out FAFSA, learn how to, like, every wall has that. Everyone has that. And then we talk to the kids, and I'm just one of those, I'm a salesman at times, and they're like, well, I want to go to college. I'm like, well, why? Well, I just want to go to college. Well, why? Because I'm going to get money going to college. What are you going to do in college? I'm going to be marketing. Well, how long does it take you to get in that field in marketing? Oh, I don't know. Well, let me ask you this. If you go to college for 8 years and don't get any experience, do you think you're going to get hired onto the company that you want to go? Oh, I never thought of it that way. And it just, we start digging deep, but none of the teachers are saying this. They're saying, hey, you know, not all of them, but like you said with the guidance counselor, just go to school, go to school, you know. But no, this is definitely, it was just a blessing to even have this conversation with someone who thinks at that level. And we look forward to utilizing your products. Before we go, anything else you would like to add? And we'll get your information. We'll put it in the description to make sure everybody knows where to find everything. But what do you have as closing remarks?
Well, I do want to say thank you so much for having me. One, what you're doing is important. This is part of the community that I want to build. I want young Black men who are talking about the things that are important to our community, sharing the information on platforms where people can find it. You know, I really think that personal growth for each individual is probably the most important thing. Find what's necessary for you. Once you find that piece for you, it will be reflected through your kids. And then from there, we continue to grow it as a community and excelling that community, right? So for me, I just want everybody to grow and love and be at peace.
Hey, you heard it first. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you check out the comments. Go buy that book, join that program, get that tutoring if you need it. It's all available. You want to reach out to her, we'll leave information. Thank you guys for tuning in. That's it.
Thank you.